Prohibitory orders under Section 144 have been imposed in the hill station of Purola in the Uttarkashi district of Uttarakhand amid communal tensions that erupted over an alleged attempt to kidnap a minor girl last month. The district administration has refused permission now for a Mahapanchayat that had been called for. Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami last week held a high-level meeting where he claimed cases of so-called love jihad that have been reported will be strictly investigated. How did it all start? On the 26th of May, two men identified as Ubaid Khan and Jitendra Saini allegedly attempted to kidnap a 14-year-old Hindu girl. The two were arrested the following day. Right-wing groups claimed it was a love jihad conspiracy. On the 29th of May, a protest march turned violent after some of the agitators attacked shops belonging to the Muslims. A similar protest was held on the 3rd of June. Posters threatening Muslim traders to shut shops then came up on the 15th of June. Muslim religious leaders in Dehradun have, as I said, called for a Mahapanchayat on the 18th of June to protest what they call increasing targeting of their community. Of course, permission has not been granted so far. Members of the Uttarakhand Waqf Board and the Hajj Committee have also met with Chief Minister Dhami, seeking strict action against those harassing Muslims in Purola town. They submitted a memorandum saying the Muslims living in the state are being hurt, harassed and scared. A peace meet was also held by administrative officials on Monday, but it failed to bring any peace to the town. What is going on here? Karthike, what do you make of this? Okay, before I actually discuss and decode this with Karthike, let's quickly play out a few reactions for our viewers and then I'll take this back to Karthike.
लव जिहाद के जो मामले आए हैं उस पर भी हमने सख्ती से जो है उसकी जांच, सख्ती से उस पर कार्रवाई इसके लिए पहले ही कहा है कि अंदर बहुत बड़ा कोई न कोई मैं कहूं कि एक साजिश है या बहुत सोची समझी रणनीति है जिसके तहत ये हुआ है। लेकिन उत्तराखंड में अब सभी लोग इसमें जागरूक भी हुए हैं और सरकार भी इस पर अब सख्ती से काम करेगी और इसको बिल्कुल आगे बढ़ने नहीं दिया जाएगा।
ये इश्क के मामलात में मत आओ आप, जो सही कर रहा है कर लें दो, मगर आप कबाब में हड्डी नहीं बनेंगे बल्कि पत्थर बनेंगे। अब आप बोलते लव जिहाद। अच्छा, अगर महाराष्ट्र में लव जिहाद हो रहा है तो एक एस्टिमेट दो, नंबर दो कि अहमदनगर में ये हुआ, कोल्हापुर में ये हुआ, सांगली में हुआ, वेस्टर्न महाराष्ट्र में हुआ, मराठवाड़ा में हुआ। बताओ, कुछ नहीं है, नहीं लव जिहाद हो रहा है, कहां हो रहा है?
पिछले कुछ वर्षों से जिस तरह से देवभूमि उत्तराखंड को दैत्य भूमि बनाने में ये जिहादी समुदाय सक्रिय है, अपनी पहचान बदल करके, अपना नाम छुपा करके, अपने क्राइम छुपा करके और क्रिमिनल रिकॉर्ड छुपा करके, और जिस तरह से उत्तराखंड को बदनाम करने में लगा हुआ है, उत्तराखंड के लोगों को परेशान करने में लगा हुआ है, वहाँ की अस्मिता, उसकी संस्कृति और उसके ऐतिहासिक मानबिंदुओं की पर कुठाराघात करने में लगा हुआ है, उससे लेकर के वो देवभूमि के लोग बड़े आक्रोशित हैं, आंदोलित हैं, परेशान हैं। इसी को लेकर के समुदाय ने तय किया कि भाई अब जो है लगातार हमारे सामने सामने बेटियों को उठा लिया जाता है, हमारे सामने सामने वो जिहादी उठा करके और लफ्जात कर जाते हैं, हमारे सामने सामने मंदिरों पर हमले हो जाते हैं, हमारे सामने सामने बेटियों का अपहरण हो जाता है, महिलाओं का अपहरण हो जाता है। तो ऐसी सब स्थितियां से अभी तक जो है ना वहाँ का स्थानीय समुदाय जो है परेशान था, रिपोर्ट कर रहा था, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं जो है ना जब शासन प्रशासन का भी बहुत ज़्यादा उनको सहयोग नहीं मिल पाया तो समाज ने तय किया कि भाई हम अब महापंचायत करेंगे।
होता जो भी है वो कर सकते हैं, बट कानून में, कानून की व्यवस्था में कोई बाधा नहीं होना चाहिए। और इस संबंध में डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन लगातार मीटिंग वगैरह कर रहे हैं। हमारा प्रयास यही रहा है कि भाई जो भी है शांति बनाए रखें और किसी वर्ग के खिलाफ का कोई नारा, कोई हेट स्पीच या जो भी होता है फिर वो उसको तत्काल एफआईआर रजिस्टर होगा, तत्काल कार्रवाई की जाएगी, कानूनी कार्रवाई जो हमारे बाध्यता है उसकी तरफ से।
Okay. Karthike, there are a couple of things about this story that immediately struck me. One is that there is a Muslim man and there is a Hindu man.
Correct.
Both of whom have been accused of kidnapping this young girl belonging to the Hindu community. They were both subsequently arrested. And yet, the right-wing Hindu groups are labeling this love jihad, which, to my mind, suggests that they're really not looking at the involvement of the Hindu boy, they seem to be focusing on the Muslim man. Also, when something like this occurs, the first thing that the administration needs to do is to really pour oil over the troubled waters. But here, the Chief Minister, after presiding over a meeting, immediately says, love jihad is not acceptable, will not be tolerated. All cases of love jihad will be thoroughly investigated. This before we even know the full facts of the case.
See, there are a couple of things. Love jihad is a word which has been devised by BJP and its affiliates as an electoral tool. So whether we talk about love jihad, election jihad, land jihad, food jihad, it's a politicized word. And it has nothing to do with the jihad problem which the West Asia witnessed because of, anyway, for the ignorance, because of the American intervention which led to breakdown of multiple states. It's like who helped the theocracy in Saudi Arabia? The Americans did that. So the sort of internationalization of Wahhabi jihadism was also a result of direct American help to them to create a sort of a green corridor to absorb or stop the red corridor in the 60s. Like very few people would know that Sayyid Qutb was taken by CIA to America to be taught, and he came back revolted against the Western civilization. Saying that, the official copy is that the girl was abducted. It was not a marriage proposal.
Yes.
And it was an assault by Ubaid Khan and Jitendra Saini. For me, they are neither Hindu or Muslim, they are criminals. Because they tried to abduct a minor.
Yes.
They should be tried under POSCO. If they had raped her, molested her, assaulted her, severe punishment should be meted out to them. So this cannot be a case of love jihad, that's number one. It was not an attempt to fool a person, get that person to marry you and then change the religion. Secondly, you see what is happening is, we have to understand that Uttarakhand is getting depopulated over a period of time. प्रधानमंत्री जी ने खुद ही बोला था एक अपनी इलेक्शन की रैली में कि उत्तराखंड का पानी और उत्तराखंड की जवानी उत्तराखंड के काम नहीं आती. And then many people repeated it. What it means is that if you dam the rivers in Uttarakhand, the electricity goes out. And the people leave Uttarakhand for the jobs. Men, basically, the women stay back and men leave. Where do they go? They serve Indian Army. They serve, majority of them are security forces. Some become journalists, some become businessmen, but they don't go back because except tourism, running shops or ecotourism, there is not much of industrial opportunity. So what happens when that space is vacated? Where is Uttarakhand? It's next to Rampur. Rampur has a lot of Muslim population. So people migrate. What happened in Mussoorie? People thought that most of the Ghodewalas are Muslims. So they bashed a lot of them. Later they realized half of them were Hindus. क्योंकि वो भी घोड़े चला रहे थे. For me, the larger issue is of bias. There is no doubt that attempts have been made in past to convert women. You have laws for that. But to target
look for a Kerala story everywhere.
But to not only a Kerala story, but to target a community, saying that you have been coming there. Where are they coming from? They are coming from China. Where do they live? Where is Rampur? Where is Rampur? Rampur is next to Uttarakhand. What are they doing? They are buying land or running shops. Who are your mechanics? Who is the mixie maker? Who does your tire? Most of them are Muslims, apprentice. So if that work is available in Uttarakhand, where will that person go? That was not the case in 80s. People stopped doing that work. I understand that Uttarakhand has a special sensibility because most of a lot of important religious centers, especially Vaishnavite and Saivite centers, are in Uttarakhand post Shankaracharya. So that is why it's called Devbhoomi, Hari ke Dwar, Haridwar. Understandable that Uttarakhand will always have a special place because it's supposed to be abode of gods. That is not even that is not even reserved for Himachal Pradesh. That thing is also not reserved for Jammu and Kashmir, Himalayan states, not even for Darjeeling and Sikkim, but for Uttarakhand. But the point is that there has to be an end to such controversies because these are manufactured controversies, and this is not the first time the Chief Minister is doing it. He did this in middle of the assembly election, and he said that a lot of Muslims are getting settled in Uttarakhand. So let us amend the Indian constitution. that the right of free movement should only be reserved for Hindus. Right of free movement should not be reserved for Muslims,
And this
Christians,
is also somebody who has said we will bring
right of
uniform
free
civil code.
Right of free movement. See, uniform civil code is a different debate. You can have a uniform civil code, that's okay. But right of free movement and your right to livelihood will only be reserved for Hindus. They should not be reserved for Muslims, Christians, Jews, Sikhs and Parsis. What is the illegality in the movement of people in buying land? Either you say you cannot buy land. Any Indian can buy land anywhere.
I mean, especially after abrogation of Article 370, where even in Kashmir, those restrictions don't exist anymore, to then have those artificial lines drawn between Indians in another part of the country.
So if people are migrating out, so they are migrating in. So certain populated areas are also getting depopulated. Na? They are not wonderful opportunities available for every Muslim in Rampur.
Yeah.
I don't think that Rampur is the hottest industrial belt in this country. I don't think it offers hottest jobs in this country. It's neither Indore nor Mumbai of India. So people will migrate out. When people can migrate from Bihar and go to Punjab to till land, when people from East Uttar Pradesh can go to South Karnataka and do landed job. So that is what didn't the Sikh population migrate to Canada? What were they doing? Did they create an industrial belt? They became the farmers there. How come Indian Sikhs are associated with Parmesan making in Italy? Because there was a report in one of the most read newspapers that the Italians don't want to make Parmesan the hard way, which is by using their hand. It's a hard job. So apne to Sikh boys are making the good Parmesans which we are eating in India. Why? Because jobs are available. So I think love jihad is a political tool. If there is an issue of conversion, then our constitution says that there is a law to deal with it.
Exactly.
You take the guy there, but this is a case of abduction. How can abduction be a case of love conversion?
So you were saying that the Chief Minister is brazenly playing the communal card.
I am saying that the Chief Minister is brazenly playing a card which is very, very divisive.
Very divisive and
it's
dangerous.
A very, very divisive. And I think when Chief Minister says that this is love jihad, it should be substantiated in multiple ways. That how many cases of love jihad have taken place.
Exactly.
You see, my point is that Chief Minister is guardian of every community in this country. Now, Chief Minister doesn't need to be partisan. I'm not saying just because the guy is a minority should be defended. Arey chodo jane do. That sort of woke politics I do not agree to, because ultimately it creates a very strong majoritarian response. This has been witnessed in UK and America, where the middle America felt lost. That is why Trump came up with let's make America great again, because a lot of people in Silicon Valley were exporting jobs because they wanted to have greater returns, and Americans felt disempowered. So we all understand that majority community, just because it's majority, shouldn't lose its voice in the political system. It should be the anchor of the political system. It should be the anchor of the political system.
But the Chief Minister cannot be the Chief Minister of just the Hindus.
But to say, my point is even more different. Just to say कि ये लोग बहुत ज़्यादा यहाँ आ गए हैं. That is my point. कहाँ आ गए हैं, किधर से आ गए, भाई अपने देश में ही तो घूम रहे हैं.
अपना ही तो देश है. And final thoughts on this, Kartikeya, before we wrap up this discussion and move on to the next story. We know that this menace is not confined to the state of Uttarakhand. I personally find it absolutely heartbreaking that during Navratras, when you have Garba happening in the state of Gujarat, since time immemorial, you've had the two communities mingling with each other, enjoying festivities and celebrating festivals together. But now you have a situation where if Muslim boys enter a venue where Garba is taking place, there are instantly allegations of love jihad. There have been instances where they've been told you will not be allowed entry because you belong to the Muslim community.
See, my point is that
what kind of divide are we?
My point is that love jihad is a political tool. If there is an issue of conversion, there is a law to deal with it. My point is very, very simple. You have a law to deal with. Send that man to jail. Send his entire family to jail if they have connived, deceived a girl, tried to convert her. Send her to jail. No, I mean to say, I have no compassion for that. But in context of Uttarakhand, I am saying that the report says that Ubaid Khan and Jitendra Saini allegedly attempted to abduct a 14-year-old girl. And specifically, I am saying this in this context. It's a case of abduction and not love jihad.
Exactly.
मैं अभी तो बात को फैला ही नहीं रहा हूं. मैं कह रहा हूं ये केस तो लव जिहाद का नहीं, अबडक्शन का केस है. और अगर आपको लगता है कि वहां एक कम्युनिटी को ज्यादा लैंड खरीदने और माइग्रेट होने की इजाजत नहीं है, तो आप कानून बना दीजिए. कहने का मतलब है कानून भी नहीं बनाएंगे और बार बार आप चीफ मिनिस्टर होकर बात बोलेंगे भाई ये ऐसा हो रहा है, तो फिर आप मुख्यमंत्री का बात कहें. You are the custodian of law, and law does not discriminate, and a chief minister should be like Caesar's wife. Neither you should discriminate, neither you should come across discriminating.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think what's really sad here is that before even the full facts of the case were known, the Chief Minister is resorting to a dog whistle, something that, of course, was completely avoidable.